Hello class, and welcome to lesson 24, where we're going to be talking about percents and rates per hundred. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom into the top half here. You can go ahead and start copying there. Okay, here is the bottom half. Going to have to zoom out a little bit. There's our bottom half. Okay, now that you've got it all copied, let's take a look. Question we're going to seek to answer in today's lesson is, what is a percent and how can I write/display one? Before we go any further, I want to break down this word percent. Okay? We have percent. Now, if we look at it real closely, we see something pretty neat. All right? If we break this up into two, we see the word per and we see the word cent. Okay? What we have talked about previously in class is that the word per actually is represented by our fraction bar. Remember that? And if you've studied languages at all or you speak Spanish, actually the Latin word for 100 is cent, and the Spanish word for 100 sounds like cent. So cent truly just means 100. Okay? So when you see per, it means fraction bar or division, and when you see cent, it means 100. So we have per 100. So whenever you see percent, like let's say 75%, if you don't remember, this is the percent sign, percent, that really just means 75 per 100, which is cent, right there. So if you're writing 75% as a fraction, it looks like 75 over 100. Then you can obviously simplify that. But let's jump back to the lesson because we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. But I want you to remember, percent just means per 100. Okay? All right. So, our task. Well, we want to know, what is a percent? How can I write/display one? Let's take a look at how we do that. A percent is a part to whole ratio. That's very important. Remember, our ratios always have two numbers. We have a number to another number. If we're looking at a percent, the first number is our part, and our second number is our whole. Okay? Now, let's keep reading. Percent is our part to whole ratio, and it can be written/displayed in many ways. A percent can be written as a fraction over 100, like I just showed you, or a decimal to the hundredths place, which we'll talk about in a second, or in a model, which we're going to show in a moment, where it's going to be really easy to see the part of a whole. Okay? So our example says, write 15% as a fraction and a decimal and a whole. So let's take our 15% here, and we'll start by writing it as a fraction. Like I told you a moment ago, percent just means per 100. So you take your 15, put it at the per 100, you have 15 over 100, which is what we have here. Now, we do need to simplify these, so 15 over 100 actually simplifies to 3/20ths if you divide, if you divide 15, divide 15 by 5 and 100 by 5, that gives you 3/20. So here we have our answer, 3/20ths. Okay? That is how you write it as a fraction. It starts by writing the part per 100. Okay? Now, this isn't hopefully too hard to comprehend. We'll get rid of some of these things that are just clogging us up here. Okay. So, if we're looking at this fraction right here, 15 over 100, we know how to turn a percent into a fraction. It's really easy. It's just whatever the number is over 100. Now, if you were to call this 15 over 100, you'd be right. But there's another way to say this, and I know that all of you know it. It would be 15 hundredths, right? With a TH. Now, I know you guys are good at place value because I've seen you do it. All right? So if I were to ask you, hey, could you please write 15 hundredths as a decimal, you know that this place value is the tenths, this place value is the hundredths, right? So it'd be pretty easy to turn 15 over 100 into 15 hundredths as a decimal, right? Because you know what these place values are called. So we can easily take our 15 hundredths and write it as a decimal, 0.15, because this is 15 hundredths. And last, we have our model. How do we display 15% as a model? Now that's where our part to whole ratio comes back into play. Up here, we see a percent means part to whole or part to whole. If your percent is whole at 100, because 100% is whatever is the maximum percent you can have on anything, then here we have a model. In this model, I don't know if you want to count these up real quick, but I promise there are 100 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you count it down, there's also 10. A 10 by 10 grid, which is what this is. 10 by 10 grid has 100 boxes. So there are 100 boxes in this model here. Okay, so that's our whole. Our whole is 100. This is the whole. What we've shaded is just a part of it. I've shaded this part and this part. Okay, so if we add up each of these boxes, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there is 15 shaded out of our whole of 100. So the part is 15 and the 100 is the whole, but this is how you model it. Okay, you make a big grid. I have a bunch you can print out, or I have a bunch that I've printed out that you can use for your notes and assignments and things like that. And you just shade in, like I've done here. You just shade 15 of these boxes. Alright, so that is how we display, that's how we display our percents as fractions, decimals, and models. The Your Work section is right here. What are 3 fractions that can represent 60%? So you're going to turn 60% into a fraction, and then you're going to show me 3 equivalent fractions to whatever 60% as a fraction is. I'm not going to give you any more hints. Good luck.